Good evening all. I'm Aditi Lamba with the Wednesday night edition of South Asian News, Vision of Asia. We are coming to you from our studio in New York City. Welcome to the show. Let's begin by taking a look at the coronavirus pandemic and its impact. The world has surpassed 100 million cases of COVID-19 with more than 2 million deaths. In the United States, we are at 25.5 million coronavirus cases and at least 425,000 deaths. An ensemble forecast from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is now projecting a 514,000 deaths in the nation by February 20th. This month of January has been the deadliest month for the pandemic, and health departments are discovering more cases of more contagious coronavirus variants. Some states that saw this month as the deadliest were Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, Texas, Washington, and others. This grim milestone also showcases the growing demand from state officials and governors for more vaccine as the rollout continues to be slow, frustrating several states that have almost run out of their supplies. According to the CDC, nearly 45 million vaccine doses have been distributed in the U.S., and out of those, more than 23 million have been administered. However, President Joe Biden has announced that he hopes to have majority population vaccinated by this fall. We again want to remind all our viewers to continue practicing the three most important guidelines. Wear a mask, please, maintain social distancing, and wash your hands frequently. On masks, nation's top health expert Dr. Anthony Fauci has said that doubling masks, meaning wearing two masks, is likely more effective to prevent the spread of COVID-19. And while we are discussing vaccines and waiting for the time, Eli Lilly announced that its treatment of monoclonal antibody can help save life and cut hospitalizations by 70% for high-risk patients. In politics, President Biden signed several executive orders today related to tackling climate change, including a pause from entering into new oil and natural gas leases on public land and offshore waters. Meanwhile, the U.S. Senate is preparing for the second impeachment trial of former President Donald Trump. The trial is set to begin the week of February 8th. We have tonight much on politics, policy, education, and South Asian culture, featuring community leaders, executives, and others. Here are the headlines. Mamita Ahmad on bringing progressive agenda to Queens, candidate for New York City Council, District 24. ITV Go's special get to know Pandit Daya Shankar, Pandit Sanjeev Shankar, and Pandit Anand Shankar. SALDEP presents Sikh Lead Youth Internship Program featuring Executive Director Kiran Kaur Gill. It's time for a short break on Vision of Asia South Asian News segment. We'll be right back. Welcome back. I am Aditi Lamba and this is Vision of Asia, Wednesday night episode of South Asian News. Let's begin by taking a look at the special elections for New York City Council, District 24. The election is on February 2nd from 6 in the morning till 9 in the evening, and early voting has begun across the district and will go until January 31st. Absentee ballots are also being encouraged during the coronavirus, where many are worried to go outside and vote. The special election for the first time features ranked choice voting, which allows voters to select up to 5 candidates in order of preference. Ranked choice voting has a goal to prevent polarized elections, promote demographically and ideologically diverse candidates, raise voter awareness, and discourage negative campaigning. We have tonight our conversation with Mamita Ahmad, who is running for the New York City Council, District 24. A progressive organizer and a proud South Asian American, Mamita hopes to be the voice for the working class families and fight for their dignity and justice. Here is Mamita on her progressive agenda for District 24's New York City Council election. What are your expectations from the incoming administration, well, the new administration right now? What are your expectations when you're looking at that attack itself?
So we're already seeing changes happening. Joe Biden, first of all, got rid of the Muslim ban, which was put in effect by Donald Trump, and expanded some of the immigrant policies that were closed off to, for example, undocumented immigrants, DACA recipients. And so we're already seeing changes happening. We are back. We signed on to the climate accord again, right? So changes are happening. So I'm very hopeful that this administration will undo some of the harm that Donald Trump did to our democracy and our country. And I'm especially looking forward to Kamala Harris's vice presidency because, as a senator, she voted 92% of the time with progressive senators like Bernie Sanders, and she co-sponsored the Medicare for All bill. So, and right now we do need to address COVID-19. So there more resources need to be put to helping working class people, but we're on a good path.
You have, said that you are for the working families. You want to make changes for the working families. District 24th is super diverse. It has a South Asian population. How do you hope to work for these working families? Why are you so focused on them?
When I was a 8-year-old who immigrated here with my parents, I lived in a 1-bedroom apartment which we shared with two of our relatives, 3 of our relatives. Me and my brother, we had to turn our living room into a bedroom for us, and that was a really difficult upbringing, right? Being housing insecure, and that's unfortunately the reality of so many immigrants who move in here. And so I want them to have a better life. I want our kids to grow up in not feeling housing insecure, having their own space, right? I want families to be able to afford an apartment, afford to live in this district where so many South Asian people live, where there's, you have the groceries that serve South Asian ethnically appropriate food, right? So this is our community. And if we can't even live here, then what is the point? And so I'm fighting for those people. If I'm elected, I will make sure that every renter has legal support and immigrants have access to language accessible legal support, and for homeowners, small homeowners, that they have, a fund to pull through to pay their mortgage, because so many of them couldn't afford to during the pandemic. And also legalize basements so that our homeowners can house more, can rent out to immigrants without worrying about being the Department of Building fining them thousands and thousands of dollars.
You're also fighting for immigration justice. I'd like to know, what are the issues of immigrants currently in District 24th, and what changes do you hope to make?
Yeah, so immigrant justice is very dear to my heart as an immigrant myself. When I moved here, I had to translate for my parents since I was 8 years old, and have had to help them navigate this system that is becoming increasingly more difficult for our immigrant community. So what we need is more language accessibility in our government. So making sure that our immigrant communities have legal support when they go to housing court, that's language accessible. That the documents, government documents, that they're all in simple language and also translated in various languages that are appropriate in the community based on who lives in the community, right? That there's an emphasis on that, and making sure that people with immigration issues, right, that they have access to an immigration lawyer for free, because oftentimes what happens is certain people will exploit, right, the fact that somebody doesn't speak English very well and charge them more extra money, or take advantage of them, right? And so I think something like legal support for immigration questions should just be taken over by City Council. That's something that should be part of our constituency servicing.
Our team proudly showcases culture and heritage and its impact on South Asian community across the globe, bringing to you true empowering stories and people who are providing recognition to cultural heritage and arts from the motherland. A huge part of Vision of Asia here works in presenting icons, artists, musicians, actors, and more on their passionate commitment to the field of Indian performance arts and its relevance today. On that, we have tonight exclusive conversations on classical Indian traditional music and instruments, as well as its reach among South Asians, featuring renowned Shehnai player Pandit Daya Shankar, along with critically acclaimed and praised Sanjeev Shankar and Pandit Anand Shankar. They belong to a family of musicians in the Banaras Gharana, where the Shehnai and flute have been played and taught for more than 450 years in India. Here are the conversation with these icons on Hindustani classical music and how it mesmerizes the listeners worldwide.
We are with Shehnai exponent Pandit Daya Shankar ji. Let's see what he has to say. You might have heard his work. the way he plays along with his family. There are 3 generations of Shehnai exponents. Let's speak to Pandit Daya Shankar ji. Daya Shankar ji, namaste.
नमस्कार।
दया जी, गंधर्व संगीत जो प्रोग्राम आज हो रहा है, इस पर आप क्या कहना चाहते हैं?
ये तो सबसे बड़ी मेरा भाग्य है कि मैं इसका शुरुआत करने जा रहा हूँ और बजा रहा हूँ। और हमारे जो घराने में है सदा ये, वैसे तो ऑस्पिशियस इंस्ट्रूमेंट है ही ये।
इसे ऑस्पिशियस क्यों कहते हैं?
ऑस्पिशियस
क्या खूबी है
कि जितना भी शुभ कार्य में प्रयोग किया जाता है वो
इसे बजाया जाता है।
बजाया जाता है।
तो क्यों बजाया जाता है? इसके
इससे
स्वर से क्या मिलता है?
इसका दूसरा नाम मंगल ध्वनि भी है।
ओके।
सभी मंगल कार्यों में ये कोशिश होती है साज को रखा जाए।
ओके। दयाशंकर जी, इसके बारे में शहनाई और आपका जो वाराणसी शहर है, इसका क्या कनेक्शन?
मेरे ख्याल से तो शहनाई ही बनारस का नाम है। संगीत का जो मैंने देखा है कि पहले साज जब है शहनाई का ही नाम आता है, बनारसी शहनाई, बनारस की शहनाई। और आज से नहीं, ये बहुत पहले से प्रसिद्ध है कि साज जो है ये बनारस का ही है। और कई लोग इसको पर्शियन भी बोलते हैं।
इसमें पर्शियन इन्फ्लुएंस है।
हाँ, तो यह है। तो असल में मैं देखता हूँ यहाँ पर जितने भी
बनारस इज द अदर नेम फॉर वाराणसी, इट्स अ ट्रेडिशनल नेम। सर, टेल अस अबाउट योर फादर। आपके पिताजी
मेरे पिताजी
शहनाई वादन करते थे।
मैं तो उनसे सीखा हूँ। और
आपके गुरुजी हैं?
मेरे गुरुजी भी।
और उनके गुरुजी कौन थे?
उनके पिताजी भी शहनाई बजाते थे।
आपके ग्रैंडफादर?
हाँ, वो भी शहनाई बजाते थे। उनके पिताजी भी शहनाई बजाते थे।
These are like 5 to 6 generations of शहनाई म्यूजिक एक्सपोनेंट्स। उनके गुरुजी कौन थे? आपके फादर के?
हमारे घराने में थोड़ा सा एक अंतर आया कि हम लोग गायकी को साज में उतार दिया।
गुरुदेव महर्षि जी के साथ आपका कनेक्शन रहता था, उसके बारे में बताइए।
महर्षि गुरुदेव जी तो साज के भूखे थे। मतलब ये ऐसा लगता था कि जैसे उनके साथ ही जुड़े हुए हैं। वो बुलाएं और हम ना जाएं। पंडित अनंतलाल जी को तो हमारे हमारे फादर को तो इतना ज़्यादा प्यार करते थे वो कि एक जगह प्रोग्राम में उन्होंने अपना हार पहना हुआ, किसी को देते नहीं थे वो अपना हार, लेकिन उनको पहना दिया उन्होंने,
महर्षि जी ने।
महर्षि जी ने। तो उस दिन से क्या वहाँ का वातावरण पापा जी को बहुत मानने लगे।
एंड वी गॉट संजीव शंकर टू स्पीक विद अस। संजीव जी, नमस्ते।
नमस्ते। जय गुरुदेव।
जय गुरुदेव। Is that how you start your work? Jai Gurudev?
Yeah.
So how did you get influenced and why did you start playing Shehnai and not any other instrument? Obviously, we heard your father saying that you all have been playing for generations.
Yes, we are the 17th generation.
Wow. 17th.
Yeah. So.
Did you say 17?
Yeah, 17.
Wow. 17 generations of Shehnai players.
So this tradition is in our family for almost 400 years and maybe over.
400 years of playing Shehnai, one music. The music has developed with them. The instrument is developed with this family.
So I also learned from Pandit Ravi Shankar ji, me and my brother. So we were very small when we went to Guruji once. And he said, why don't you play Shehnai? Because I was learning to play sitar. And he said, no, don't do that. Play your own instrument. It's been in your family for so long and you should not break the tradition.
Break the tradition.
Yes. So that's how in fact, even before that, we were playing a little bit because my grandfather was very adamant that we should be.
So I'm sure you have Shehnais lying around in your house everywhere. You all just take it and play it anytime.
You won't believe how many Shehnais we have.
I can imagine. 17 generations. So which is the oldest Shehnai instrument you have in your... How old is it?
The instrument that I was playing belonged to my grandfather,
Okay.
and it was given to him by his uncle.
All right.
So it must be at least 120 something years.
My God, 120. It's really a heritage instrument. It should be preserved. It must be very expensive now.
Expensive in terms of,
It's priceless, actually. It's priceless. It's priceless.
yeah.
So, we heard you playing. We'd also like to meet your brother, who you said plays violin, but then went on to tabla. So, next we will meet Pandit Daya Shankar's son, Anand Shankar, who plays tabla. And we have Anand Shankar with us, Pandit Daya Shankar's son, who doesn't play Shehnai. He plays the tabla. Why, Anandji, did you think of playing tabla?
As my brother said, in the beginning I started
Violin.
and that is also the Western one. And also I'm learning the flute also. Somehow I started some tabla player came to my house, and when he was practicing with my father, and somehow he went away for doing some work. Then I sat on tabla and just bang like that.
Okay. Tried your hands at it.
Yes, and at that time very young at that.
How old were you that time?
Around 8 or something like 8, 10 between.
That's really young.
Yeah, 10 years maybe. Then he said, "Oh yes, sounds good." And that day I don't know how I merged with.
You just went into it. And then you started learning it?
Yeah,
and then
just-
you became... So you accompany your dad on every concert you all go to?
Yeah.
Or every program you all go to?
Yeah, my father and with my brothers also, I was there.
But we have nothing to fear. Pandit Daya Shankar has got 2 sons who play Shehnai, and Anandji plays tabla. So the tradition will go on for generations and generations. Thank you, Anandji. Thank you for speaking with us. Thank you.
It's time for the short break on Vision of Asia, Voice of the Community. We'll be right back. Welcome back. I am Nati Lama, and this is Vision of Asia South Asian News segment. We have now another segment on Sikh Lead Internship Program by SALDEV, the Sikh American Legal Defense and Education Fund. SALDEV works on building dialogue, deepening understanding, promoting political participation for Sikh Americans. SALDEV proudly represents and recognizes Sikh American voices, their issues and accomplishment. The organization is grounded in its value of optimism, humility and service inspired by the community for the benefit of all. SALDEV recently opened applications for its Sikh Lead initiative empowering young Sikh American voices. There are 2 programs in Sikh Lead that Sikh American high school and college students can apply to, with deadlines for application February 1st and February 15th. This program is aimed at building leaders by providing opportunities for young Sikh Americans to enter into local and state government. The internship program also partners with leading congressional offices, federal agencies, and other organizations to provide a first-hand perspective into functioning of the government and its legislative process. Discussing this and much more, we spoke with SALDEV's Executive Director, Kiran Kaur Gill. Visit saldev.org/Sikh Lead for more information. Right, and what kind of opportunities have you seen come up for these individuals, especially the ones that are in college? They're looking for, I'm sure, job opportunities after that in politics or policy. What kind of, fields can they go into through this leadership program?
They can really go into any field. And we've had individuals that, want to go more traditional fields, medicine, engineering, et cetera, that have gained from this program because they've gotten to see the policy side and understand how their specific discipline sort of fits in a larger picture. Well, we've also had, for example, we've had individuals that have interned on Capitol Hill and then gone back and gotten positions on Capitol Hill. For example, an intern from 2018, her name is also Kiran Ahluwalia, actually interned at Senator Dianne Feinstein's office, and then was able to get a staffing position earlier this year at the same office. So, we've kind of seen the range of things, in terms of the positions that people have chosen to pursue afterwards. But certainly, I think back to, when I was growing up, the type of representation or even the types of opportunities we thought of and career paths we thought of going into And it really gives, I think, youth an understanding of how many opportunities there are out there and what that could look like. So I think it's really also like sort of expanding their idea of, what they can do and how they can contribute, in terms of a career or in terms of, serving the public.
I just have 2 more questions left here for you, Kiran. If somebody was applying and watching you right now, what's the biggest piece of advice you can give them for applying to this program? Or perhaps what kind of applicants is the SALDEF looking for a sick lead?
I think we're looking for applicants that really are interested in public service. If you're interested in learning about how government works, if you're interested in learning about, how the legislative process works, and you're interested in making a difference. I mean, I think that last part is key, right? I mean, we talk about the word public servant. And in Sikhi, I think, we talk about the concept of seva or selfless service. I think those two ideas really marry when you talk about going into this field, because it's about thinking, being in this position to promote the greater good, to think about what is good for society, and really, lead in that area. And if you or anyone listening is interested and thinks they have those attributes, and wants to be in a place where they can truly make a difference, I would encourage you to apply.
And finally, my last question to you, Kiran, has to be, we are in the COVID-19 pandemic. How is SALDEF going to function during sick leave for that specifically?
So we actually were really lucky last year. We did the program virtually, and we were actually able to get virtual internship placements. So depending on what the situation is with COVID, we may also have virtual internship placements this year, or possibly, again, depending, we may have some in person. So it'll sort of depend office to office. But we absolutely continued despite COVID with the program. And, 20 students last summer got an incredible, life-changing experience. So we will continue regardless of what the conditions are, with the pandemic.
And I'm sure the application is available on the SALDEF website.
Yes, they are. Thank you for reminding me. It's www.saldef.org/sickleave. And you can go and, again, the applications for the BC program are due February 1st and the regional program February 15th.
Yes, for sure. A highly recommended program for a lot of you to join. Thank you so much, Kiran, for your time on ITV Gold. Well, this is all for tonight. Please send us your suggestions and get your voices and organizations on our show. Email us on events@itvgold.com or follow us on Facebook at ITV Gold. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel to watch many of our popular shows for free. Thank you for joining us tonight from Queens, New York. This is Vision of Asia, and I am Aditi Lamba. Take care and be well.